Um, I'm Kahu. I'm going to go through the building a new app feature with Claude Code project. This is an extension of the project one from the AI Workspace Series. Yeah, let's jump straight into it. So the difficulty we've got is easy. Should take around 90 minutes. Can be a lot less if you've already got Claude Code set up. And the key concepts are Claude Code, understanding IDEs like Cursor and Node.js, and I'll be walking through the low-touch version of this project. Natasha's gone through the high-touch version that's also on YouTube already. Cool, so we can see here a brief summary of the end product that we're trying to create. So this has got an added sharing feature to the pre-existing NextSound web app. So we're going to be using Claude Code, which is a coding assistant that works in your terminal to build this feature. So instead of running every line manually, you'll be describing what you want, and Claude Code will be able to help you write that. New to Claude Code, super exciting. This project requires no experience with Claude Code or any programming, so you can definitely get started here. There is a previous AI Workspace Series project on Cursor, which is a really cool project, and we introduce the AI-powered IDE Cursor there. So if you want to check that out, it's definitely a good place to start as well. So we can use the ask feature here to check if this project is actually right for us. And while that thinks, we can have a little read of this. So here's the YouTube live we're doing now. And before we start step one, we're working with NextSound, a Spotify-like web application. You'll build a complete share track feature using Claude Code, an AI-powered command line tool. Cool. Very good. Okay, so this feature includes a share button on the front end, copy functionality that copies track URLs to the clipboard, and a toast notification pop up in the corner to show you've actually copied a track. What is Claude Code? Claude Code is a CLI tool. It brings Claude's AI models directly into your terminal. Unlike a browser-based AI, it has access to your entire code base and can edit files directly. So there's a secret mission at the end, which goes into a multi-share feature, but we'll get there in about 45 minutes or so. Costs, so we'll need to set up, pay for a minimum of $5 in API credits when we set up our Claude Code account. This project should be between $1 and $5. It really depends on model of choice as well as how much time we spend debugging different features. And we'll also set up a budget so we don't spend any more than specified. What are we doing in this project? In this project, I'm going to use Claude Code to implement a new feature in a web app, a new sharing feature in a web app. NextSound is a music playing web application. Cool. If you're up for a challenge, feel free to quiz yourself. We can go through this. Which type of Claude Code memory is best for instructions specific to the current project, shared with your whole team? Just choose some here. What's the purpose of plan mode in Claude Code? To create a plan without any actions running any code. What is Claude Code? What is the purpose of /init? Token using estimated costs. Cool. Okay, step 1, setting up your coding environment. So in this step we're going to go clone the NextSound repo from GitHub. We're going to install Node.js if you don't already have it, which is a tool that lets you run JS-based programs like Claude Code. Installing Claude Code and then creating and setting up an account. We're doing this step. In this step, I'm setting up my coding environment by first cloning the NextSound repo from repo. Installing Node.js. And installing Claude Code. So, creating my Claude Code account because I need a Claude account to first add credits, then use the API to carry out changes in Claude Code, maybe with Claude Code. Awesome. So first thing, we're going to open Cursor. Just opening that now. Then we're going to clone the GitHub NextSound repo to our desktop, then open it in the IDE. So if you don't have an IDE, you can check out the Cursor download page. That's the IDE we're going to be using for this. You can also use VS Code, or you could go through the process of setting up Cursor in step 1 of the first project in the AI Workspace Series. Cool. So I'll go through and just do these 3 steps here. So clone the repository, pasting that link in, choosing my desktop. It'll take a second to clone, and then it'll open inside of the Cursor IDE. So if you run into a get not found error, that means Git isn't installed on your computer. There is you can go to the Network community, or you can go onto GitHub's website, or even High Touch alternatively, to understand how to set that up. We can also ask the ask feature here. See if it's, there you go. There's would you like to open the cloned repository? So that's the NextSound repo we just cloned, and you'll see it open up on the right hand side. But yeah, here's a good option. So going to the official Git website and installing it, you have to restart your IDE before you do that. Cool. So we can see we're on the same page here with the cloned repository. So now installing Node.js. What is Node.js? So it's a runtime environment, so a place that an engine that can run your code that lets you run JS outside of web browsers. So Claude Code and plenty of other CLI tools are based around this. So we're quickly just going to run in the terminal here to check that I have this. So I do. So I'm going to follow the I have Node.js installed tab here, but if you don't, follow through with I don't have Node.js. So I will run this again in the same terminal to check. Okay, I'll uninstall that really quickly. I don't know why that was still installed. I'm just checking if I can uninstall Claude Code really quickly for this tutorial, and then I'll hop back into the stream here. Cool. So we can see here Claude's no longer installed. So I'm just going to run the install command now. It's totally possible you run into a permission error here. On Mac, if you're doing that, you can run the sudo command. If you're on Windows, and try running the terminal or the IDE in Administrator. We can use the ask here as well, super handy. Just clicking on this to open up this prompt in the ask feature. We can get a response here. So we can see here that after I've installed Claude Code, it's ran, it's installed, we can get a version here, so we can keep going. So now we can run the Claude command to actually open Claude in our IDE. And we can see now that the Claude is opened. So we can see we've been given the opportunity to select a text style and a dark mode or light mode setting that works for us. So what does the Claude command do? Running it starts the conversation interface where you can chat with Claude about code and ask it to implement features, and we're using the -G to implement a global installation rather than per user. Why does it run in the terminal? It's effectively because it's designed that way to be really useful in like any sort of IDE, or you can run it just purely in a terminal if you just opened up it's like a warp terminal or just a basic terminal on Windows or Mac. You'd run it in there as well and get it to edit files really easily. It's just a good, friendly interface that works quite well. Cool. So follow the instructions on screen to complete setting up Claude Code. So you've got choose text style here, trusting the files and folder, Claude Code's ready, other. We can see that this lines up with this and doesn't line up with these other options. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and follow this. So choose your text style, follow this tab here. Choose your text style, use an Anthropic console to connect Claude Code with your Claude account. So I'll go dark mode and throw up a console, opening your browser. So we can see here, it's going to give me the opportunity to authorize this. This screen will look different if you don't have a Claude account. So in the case, going through one of these would be the correct option. Whatever screenshot you see, you'll get different stuff. So creating a Claude account, for instance. So I'm going to click authorize. We're going to see login successful. Press enter to continue. And see it says here, depending on whether you have a Claude account, you'll be either need to log in or sign up. So authorize the connection. Once you're done connecting your account to the Claude Code, you'll see a success message. We saw that. And then we can head back and we just pressed enter there. And accept by going through default settings. And trusting the folder. Cool, so we can see we've set up Claude Code to run in our terminal in the NextSound project here, and we could ask it anything in this terminal line and it would have access to everything in this repository, and it would be able to go and change those things. Cool, so we've set up Claude Code. Just add a screenshot here for this validation. Cool, so I'll just load the screenshot here. What is Claude Code and how is it different to an AI chat in your browser? Claude Code is a CLI tool. Unlike AI chats in your browser, Claude Code can index and change, edit any files in your codebase, and it works really well with Git. That's definitely the preferred usage. Cool. Understanding AI models and costs, we can run /model and select default, recommended, or Sonnet for the best learning experience. So here we can see default, Opus, or Haiku. Sonnet and default is a really good option here. Haiku is definitely cheaper. It's really good for simple tasks, and Opus is quite expensive and really should be reserved for complex tasks that need more thinking. And we'll go on to exactly what that means in a bit. So I'm going to select default. And here we've got a list of some of the stuff here, and we talk about, we can ask the ask feature about exactly what complex reasoning is. So Haiku, fastest, cost effective. Sonnet, balanced performance, good for most tasks. It's a great choice for this project. That's what we will be running with. And Claude Opus is the most powerful for complex reasoning tasks. So we can ask the ask feature of what actually is a complex reasoning task, and why would we use Opus. While that finishes, I'll run the cost command here, and we'll be able to see that. Yep, so we can see that the cost of the project is at $0 so far, so we haven't spent anything, we haven't asked any queries, we've just used tool calls here like model and cost. And you'll see this number go up as we run the project. It should be between $1 and $5 towards the end. Cool, so we can see here, I won't read this entire thing out, but Opus, specifically referring to Claude 3 Opus, is defined for highly complex reasoning tasks, known for its ability to handle nuanced instructions, perform multi-step analysis, and generate sophisticated outputs. Yeah, just a more advanced model, better for complex tasks. Cool. So, which model are you using in this project? The Claude Code model I'm using in this project is Claude Sonnet 4.5. Other model options include Claude Haiku and Claude Opus. So I think this is Opus 4.1. This is Claude Haiku 4.5. So I would choose a more powerful model if I was developing a complex feature. I would use a simpler model if I was carrying out a basic task, like updating documentation. What do you get when you run the /cost command? So the /cost command obviously shows us the cost, but also shows us things like duration, so time the API spent thinking or pulling index and input and output tokens, and also has the total input and output and cache tokens. So it shows information around cost, token count, no cost. Here we go, token count, and usage time. It's good practice to run cost when after completing a new feature. That's because you're able to see how much that costed you, and it is important to understand these APIs like this can cost quite a bit of money if you're not careful with how you're using it. Awesome. So setting up a budget to control costs is what we're going to do next. So we're going to head to the Anthropic console and set a monthly limit of $5. One second. Cool. So we're going to go to the Anthropic console, set a monthly limit of $5, and then set up email notifications as well. So this is a company account, so it's gonna this will look slightly different compared to what you guys will see, but it's still much the same. So here you would go and set up like a monthly limit, so you can click a button here, and then if I had an admin account, I could click that, but I can't because I don't have an admin account. So then I can go through here and click add notification, and you can enter, say, $1 or $5 if you wanted to to get an email notification effectively when you spend that much. Cool. just wait a second so I can get permission to show you guys exactly what this looks like. Cool, so we can change this limit to, say, $5, and that would update this, so the company spend would be $5. We actually use these limits in real life, like it is still really important, even for a big engineering team, to not spend too much money on API tokens. So super important. It's a really good thing to get in the habit of. And we can add a notification here for a $1 spend of what that. So after a person reached $1, this account, that we would get a notification. We won't set this up because of the company's account, but definitely a really good idea. Cool. I'll just take a photo of this section here. So why is it important to set up budget before using Claude Code? I set up budget in the Claude Code console to prevent overspending during feature design. Maybe we can be a bit more general when using Claude Code API. AI models build based on usage, unless you have a Claude like subscription account, then it's based on a single monthly cap, which is still usage, but it's a different thing depending on yeah, it's not quite token limited in the same way. So if I don't have a budget, I could overspend. Cool. So now we're up to initializing Claude Code. So we can install the NextSound project dependencies, get Claude Code to understand the code base, and manage Claude's memory system. I'm going to install the NextSound project dependencies. Get Claude familiar with my code base, or with the NextSound code base. Manage Claude's memory with custom instructions. Claude's memory with custom instructions. Cool. Exciting. Okay, so we're going to open a new terminal instead of working in the same one. And we're going to run npm install at the root of our code base. What that's going to do is it's going to go through and look at package.json and install all of the dependencies for this project. So that's what the TypeScript and everything runs on and depends on to build and look the way it does. For instance, if you didn't install Tailwind or something like that, there would be no style, or a lot of styling would be missing. So it's really important we do this to get everything to function. Why are we running npm install? I ran it to install the project's dependencies from package. package.json. And package.json is just a list of all the dependencies that get built as you do. You can do it manually, or you can do npm install whatever package, and it will go through and add it, as well as installing it to your thing, to your machine. npm is a node package manager. So that comes along with the Node.js installation that you would have done to get to this point. And yeah, it's just what does, it's like the package installer here. You run it before whatever you want to run with the Node package manager. So now we can switch back to the Claude terminal. So this one here, it's labeled Node, and we can run the /init command. So the init command is going to look at the structure and information in your code base, and it's going to go and pull all of that and make it into a single, what we call a memory file. Hello, Cloud. Yeah, no, I'm not going to set a $5 budget for the company account. And hello, John. Claude Code legend. Yeah, for sure. So what init does is it builds a Claude Markdown file, which is stores the project's context. It's sort of a memory file for Claude, so it understands that what this project's about each time you open it up, and it's going to get run. So soon we're going to go and add some stuff to it, some custom instructions. So the init command makes Claude search through your project and summarize the structure and information into a single markdown file. Facts on facts, yes. A single markdown file that Claude will reference on each request. Cool. What information is inside the Claude markdown file? So Claude MD is a memory file, which means Claude will use it each time. We'll refer to it on it automatically. So you can see that Claude's finished with the Claude markdown file. Understand the project. My Claude markdown file has multiple sections covering ... So we can have a look at the Claude markdown file now. So it should have been created at the root directory. Oh no, I haven't clicked. So we can click here to make edits to it. So yes, allow edits. So take a second there, and then it will go and create this markdown file here. So it's gone through the entire project and looked at some stuff around like setup and install and building, all that sort of thing. So it has multiple sections, including install, setup. So that's like building, setup. That can be building, installation, building, running. Get that out of the parentheses. Running the web app. We can also talk about some other stuff. So the architecture here, dependencies, and the Git flow I mentioned. So yeah, won't list everything there, but there's a lot of good stuff for sure. This is different to a README because because it is designed to be read and understood by AI, Claude Code in this case, whereas a readme.md file is designed to be read and interpreted by a human. So you might see a readme on like a GitHub that's going to pop up first and show you similar stuff, really. A much redacted version of this, but it'll have like install setup, build setup, how to run, potentially some stuff on like common issues, but it wouldn't have everything that's going on here. Cool. So we're now going to manage Claude's memory with the /memory command. So in your Claude Code console, you can type hash, and now we can enter a prompt here. So just ask the ask feature again. I want to tell Claude not to implement any new features. I didn't use what's a prompt I can use. So it's going to go through with context of this project and create a prompt we can use here to add this to the memory, which is then going to add it to the Claude Markdown file as something that it's always going to refer to when you send it a request. So we can see here it says to memorize. Finish writing here. Cool. So I can send it to that, and then I can select either user memory, which is for my Claude account, or project memory, which is for everyone that accesses this repository. So I'm going to select project memory, and you can see that it has, I'll refresh Claude MD, and it would have added it just here. So this is the prompt we had. Now it's going to refer to that every time it goes through, and when we send a request, it's going to go through this, and it's going to see this. So it's a really good thing to add. If you've got some sort of specific development things you want to apply, styling or stuff you want to look out for, or stuff you want to ignore, it's really good to put there. Cool, so I'm going to upload a screenshot of this markdown file. What are the different types of memory? So that's project memory and user memory. Project memory is useful for, let's say, outlining the specific development styles or instructions for this project. For example, use no M dashes in UI text. So that it wouldn't use M dashes in that case if you put that in there and you were designing it with markdown files or some sort of web app with markdown files. Whereas user memory is useful for personal, let's say, coding styles, or instructions. For example, add comments above longer for loops. maybe you're really concerned with this and you want it to go through and detect these things and look for this if someone's brought it up with you in the past. How do you add new instruction? Add a new instruction to Claude Code's memory from the terminal. So I entered memory mode with the hash command. The new instruction tells Claude to not implement a new feature without my consent. The new memory is saved in the claude.md file. Awesome. So step 3 now. Building a new feature with Claude Code. So now that we're all set up, we can actually start designing now and implementing. So we're going to be able to share our favorite tracks with friends. We will break it into 3 stages. So that's going to be a share button, clipboard, and a toast notification pop up once we've completed that. So a toast notification is just, like I said, a pop-up that comes up in the bottom of your screen. So I'm going to run and explore the NextSound web app, create a 3-stage implementation plan, review the plan, and then implement the feature 1 stage at a time. So in this step, I'm going to run the web app, create and implement a 3-stage plan. Maybe create a 3-stage plan, review it, and implement this staged plan, step by step, or stage by stage really, stage by stage. Cool, so we're going to run the web app now. So we're going to go back to this terminal and run npm run dev after we've done the installation, and this will open up a local host link. And interesting, I might just close this and open it again. Cool. This is just loading. There in a second. Cool. So the web app is up now. You can have a look. Different light and dark mode. You can see the songs here that we have loaded from. This is not from an API. It's from just like preloaded in the code base. You can see there's no share feature of any sort here. There's just the ability to play tracks. Cool. So we'll head back. Close this. We'll head back to Claude Code here in the terminal. And then we're going to switch to plan mode and then give it a plan, and then we can go and implement with that plan. So I've just pressed Shift Tab to cycle between accepting edits on to plan mode, and then I'm going to give it this prompt here. So Claude Code, just going through and looking at what we have currently and understanding how it can set up a plan for us to actually go and implement this feature in plan mode. We don't have any sort of, like, it's not going to go and edit any code. It's just going to create a plan of how to edit the code, so we can understand that, and then we'll be doing a revision here and then going through and doing it step by step after that point. So it's just noted here that it's got a complete understanding of the code base, and then it's going to start. It's currently creating a detailed plan to implement the share feature. Cool, so it's got a plan here. We won't read all of it. So it's got 3 stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click no keep planning, and then we're going to get a prompt using the ask feature. Obviously, you can more than welcome to write it out yourself, but we'll use this. Start writing this out. So you can use this prompt here. I just typed it out to save some time. What we're doing effectively is giving Claude feedback on its plan and suggesting that we only want to implement one stage at a time. This is really, really good, and I use it all the time as an engineer, building staged plans opposed to just going all in and just saying, oh yeah, just do whatever, do whatever you want. So yeah, I think this is really good practice. So we can see here that it's now noted that it's going to implement stage 1 and stop, and then yeah, looking for proceeding messages from us once it's done that. So I'm all good with that. So we'll let it go ahead and do that. We can fill out the validations while we wait. This should take, I don't know, 1 to 2 minutes, maybe a little longer. So Claude Code's plan mode is useful for setting up a plan of action to create or change something in your code base. I activated plan mode by pressing Shift plus Tab, and it's Shift plus Tab on both Mac and Windows. Without plan mode, I would have potentially let Claude make assumptions about functionality and design that not true. Make assumptions, I should say, and carry out changes. So yeah, effectively it allows you to make sure you understand exactly what Claude's going to do and fine-tune that before it goes ahead and actually implements it. So it's just finished implementing this first feature, and it's giving us some testing instructions here. So what we'll do is we'll just go back to the npm running terminal and we'll rerun the web app. Wait for that to pop up. Yeah, and then refresh it, and we can see that. I'll open this in the side here. So run npm run dev, hover over any track card, click on the share button. So you can see here it's added a share button there, and we're going to check the browser console. So you can press Shift, you can go F12, Control F12, or you can go into Inspect here. Either one will work. So we can see here we're in the browser console, so we're going to be able to see share button clicked for track levitating. So that all worked correctly. So I'm just going to, I'll fill this out first. I use plan mode to build a, just the end of the, use plan mode to build a share feature. I refine the plan by giving it strict instructions to only carry out one stage at a time because this allowed me to debug and test at each stage, each pre-planned stage. Cool. So once you're happy, you can continue. That's what we did. So I'll just put a screenshot of our 3-stage plan here. Let's grab a screenshot of this. Cool. So like talked about, you can open the browser console with F12 or Command Option C, and it's what is browser console? It's a built-in tool in every web browser that shows the behind-the-scenes information, the front-end logs that will make it really easy for debugging stuff like a button being added, for instance. Just making sure it actually works and functions and that it's linked up. So we can see here, we open up the browser console, we can see the share button has been clicked. Similar debug message, which is really good. So we can go onto the left-hand side tab, so share button is working. That means you're ready for stage 2. Claude, you're ready for stage 2. So we'll just go and do that now. So it's going to go ahead and proceed with stage 2 now because we've prompted it to and we've set up that stage plan. So if we look back to what this stage actually is, in this case, I think it's the clipboard functionality. So once that's done, when we click the button, it will copy the link to our clipboard. And the last thing after that will actually be getting the toast pop-up to show the user on the website that it's been successfully copied. So let's do that. So please test stage 2. So it's finished implementing it now, and so testing instructions. Let's have a look at the web app. So I'll just restart it again. Go to reload. Take a second, but we should be able to see the Spotify link successfully copied. So we can go here and actually go to Spotify for that thing we copied. Very cool. Okay, so we can now go ahead with stage 3. So I'm just going to type proceed with stage 3, and this one, if I remember, is the toast pop-up. So once the link is copied, it's going to go ahead and show us that in some sort of toast pop-up notification in the corner. So you should be able to paste the Spotify URL for any track in a new web app, we were able to do that. That's really cool. So I'm going to go into this tab here. Clipboard functionality is working. So while this goes through and reads that, I can talk about this extra for experts point. So how can I manage Claude Code's context? Um, Context is effectively like the model size it can index back into. So more advanced, expensive models have generally a larger context window, and that's how much of your code base it's how much of your code base is going to be indexing. So if you were at say 70% context, that would be like 70% of the model's capability in terms of how much it can look at once. And you can, if you're running into this problem where you're maxing out your context window, which is totally possible in bigger code bases, you can use commands like compact or clear. Compact summarizes all the content and then creates a new message, and then deletes the rest of the context, so it has a sort of summarized version. So you're not losing any information there, you're just losing a slight bit of detail perhaps. And clear is the like full on just wipe everything in this chat above where you're at. So yeah, that's another option as well. If you wanted to effectively start a new conversation in the same terminal, you could run that. So yeah, those are some really good options, and you'll see a notification or a little like text block below. I think it's on the right hand side here. When you're running out of context, it'll say like percentage, a percentage value. That's something you could definitely run into if you're using Claude Code for bigger projects. W content, good luck. Thank you, Mizuchi. So we've told it to proceed with stage 3. So it's almost done now. It's just adding the toast notification system here. And we should see something a little bit like this once it's done, telling the user that the link is actually being copied to the clipboard. It currently already has been, but it's really good to let the user know in that case. So what it's doing now is just going through individual files, app, track card, and the config to create that toast notification. So it's finished now. It's completed the stages 1, 2, and 3, which is the toast notification, the third one. We just saw it to proceed. So I'm just going to restart this web app one more time. Take a couple seconds to load. And then you can see here a pop-up down here saying link copied to clipboard. And we should be able to go to this link in Spotify and see the song we copied. Cool, so that's really good. We've implemented all 3 stages of this plan, so we can click toast notification is working. I suppose I can preview this. This is options if you get stuck, if Claude Code doesn't implement the feature correctly. So we can look at if the app isn't loading, the toast doesn't appear, if toast looks broken. These are all directly linked to the ask feature, so it will send you a prompt there, and the AI will respond, or you can go to the community if you have any more questions which can't be solved. Cool, so we can upload a screenshot of our working feature here. Just open the second tool. Wasn't quite right. Cool. What are the 3 stages we implemented? The first stage, start by building a button for the user to click when they want to share a specific track. So the second stage built on stage 1 by adding clipboard, copy to clipboard functionality. The third stage adds a pop-up toast notification. Why was it helpful breaking the feature into 3 stages? Breaking a feature build into stages help because it made it clear how to test each milestone in a new feature without having to debug other sections of the new feature. After each stage, I tested Claude Code's work by either checking the browser console or looking for a visual indicator. So that's the toast notification there. Cool, so we can run /cost now. We can see how much that new feature costed us to implement. So that was $1.16, and the total API duration that it was on and thinking for was 5 minutes and 13 seconds, and we had 2.7k input and 16k outputs, and 1.8 million tokens cached. Cool. So what does the command cost do? Once I finish building my feature, I ran cost and saw I had used $1.16 USD in Claude Code API tokens for the Sonnet model, and yeah. Cool, so we can move on to the secret mission now. It's on planning and implementing at twice the speed, so you'll notice with that feature, it did take us a little bit of time to set up the stage plan at the start, and then going through and following it was relatively quick. We just had to wait for the model to think. And you can have a look here around what the feature is that we're going to be building in this case with this sped up implementation of the stage planning here. So it's a multi-share feature where you're able to select multiple tracks, share, and then they'll all get copied to your clipboard. Cool, so we'll just jump into the secret mission now. We're going to be activating the plan mode, asking Claude to create a 3-stage plan, telling the Claude strict controls, implementing 1 stage at a time. That's what we had to do before. It took a little bit of time to do that, but if we can set it up so that all of that gets ran automatically with a direct command, that would be really cool. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So while stage planning is great, it's a great way to build features, it takes time to set up the staged plan. I'm using commands to automate this process. This will help me speed up implementing new features. Cool, so in your NextSound project directory, we're going to create a new file called stage plan in a .claude and commands folder. So we'll create our repository root will go Claude, new folder in Claude called commands, and it is really important they're all named this way. Claude looks for this markdown files in this exact path at the root. So we're going to create a staged underscore plan markdown file there. So you can see that that lines up nicely with that. And now we're going to copy and paste this prompt into that markdown file. So we've got preloaded functionality here, preloaded variables where you can go and click and change these if you'd like, but these ones work. So we're going to paste that in. We're going to click save. I'll press save. So I'll clone this, close this, and then close the Claude markdown file. Cool, so that matches up what we had. So how do I write a command? How are they structured? Is there anything I need to include? So they don't need to be anything super strict. We've set it up with like a typical markdown layout with headings and whatnot, but it can really be anything. Like you just say like, greet me in French at the top, and it would do that each time you call the /stage command file or whatever whatever command you have. It really doesn't have to be anything particular, but it is like common to have it set up in a way where you've got pretty technical and strict instructions around what it's going to do. That's good practice for engineering work with Claude Code. Okay, we'll actually upload a screenshot of this. So another thing to note is to use a new command, you have to restart Claude Code. So I would just press Control C there, and I'll run clear to get rid of everything in my view, and then I'll write Claude again. And once that opens, we should be able to use stage plan. So we'll restart the terminal like we did, exit it, and then we're going to use this prompt here, adding a multi-share feature that allows users to select and share multiple items from the latest hits section. So you could really do anything here. If you wanted to add a new feature for a queue, for instance, or an alternate search or sorting feature, you could do that instead. But we'll run with this. Cool. So Claude Code will now take a couple minutes to go and think about how it's going to use that stage plan prompt to understand and build this feature we're going with the multi-share here. So what's in this multi-share feature and what's it supposed to do? It's come up with a plan already. Oh, I should have been in plan mode when I did that. So what is multi-share? It's selection mode, so users can select multiple buttons in a web app to enter selection mode, and track selection, which allows you to click links to add them to the selected list. Bulk actions, so adding a share selected button to copy all the track URLs, and then an exit selection, so an easy way to cancel the selection mode if you didn't actually want to share the links. So we'll just let it go through plan mode with the stage plan and come up with a plan we can have a look at and decide if it's the right option to go ahead and proceed with stage 1. Cool, so it's just notified us that it has understanding of the code base, so just another 30 seconds or so and it should have a detailed plan for us. So it's given us a plan. You can have a quick look. So stage 1, basic structure and UI only, no functionality. Cool, that sounds right to me. Stage 2, wiring up state management and basic toast notifications. Cool. Stage 3, adding the select all and deselect all buttons. That makes sense. Loading states, animation transitions. Cool. So we'll let it go ahead and proceed with implementing stage 1. So it's going to take another minute, and it will go through and actually have a look at what we want and the plan we've said yes to, a part of it, and it's going to go through and implement that. So we can fill in while we wait what the 3 stages were. For the tracks we want to share. So new feature I'm building is, I should fill that out first. See if it's is a multi-share feature. Claude broke down into 3 stages: selection mode, toggle the tracks you want to share. Stage 2. What's that? Stage 2. Multi-share functionality, and stage 3 was loading states, select all, deselect all buttons. Cool, so it's just wrapping up stage 1, doing some of the imports. Cool, so it's just told us that it's adding the bottom bar selection UI. And after this is finished, it will give us some information how we can test this, similar to how it did it for the stage plan earlier on in this project. So it's actually prompted us to, it's going to test this anyway for us. So I might just ask, how can I test this? We can also follow the instructions on the next work project. So refresh in the browser, look for a way to enter selection mode. So we can see a select multiple button here, which we can open, but we can't click into these yet. That makes sense. That's in the next step. So that looks good to me. proceed with stage 2. So in this stage, it's actually going to implement the functionality around selecting multiple tracks, and then in the third stage, the final stage, it's going to put it into like the full completed state where everything's working. We're going to be able to deselect and reselect a bunch of different tracks and actually share those with the world, and then there's going to be token notification updated to follow that as well, which is really cool. So yep, we can see that tracks aren't selectable yet in our version as well, which makes a lot of sense. Everything seems to line up. And if your multi-selection feature isn't working, you can contact the community or just ask the ask feature here, which is super useful. Yeah, neat. I wonder how it's going to look. Yeah, no, it should be cool. I think it's Claude Code's their 4.5 is a really good model for implementing UI and doing web app development. So I think it'll look pretty cool. See here, it's talking about stage 2, so that's really cool. It's putting effort into explaining that in the comments when it's going through the editing process. So I suppose we can read this explanation here about what is visual feedback. Visual feedback means any sort of change on the screen that shows the user their action had an effect, like a toast pop-up or any sort of a checkbox or something like that. It worked really well too. So we're just going to wait for this to finish completing. Shouldn't be far off now. I think it just doing some imports, so it's a good sign. Cool. So stage 2 is complete. We'll go and test this by closing this and rerunning the web app. Okay, so we can see it opened again with no errors, and you can see select multiple. Now we can actually select a number of tracks here, and then the next layer will be deselecting and reselecting stuff. So you can see the pop-up working there, which is really cool. So we can proceed with stage 3. And we can actually check on blank page. These are the 3 tracks that we selected, so it's done a really good job at copying that through and making sure we can actually paste this to, a friend or wherever we want to share the content. So we can take a photo of the working multi-select so far. So we've just told Claude to implement the third stage, final stage, and it's going to add the bulk share and toast notifications as well as those extra deselect and select buttons we spoke about. So I think it's doing that now. Looks like it. Yeah, so on select all and clear selection. So that's really good. And it's getting added to the selection bar. And yeah, it's doing some imports now. Just making a note about adding some keyboard shortcuts. It's really useful being able to see this here, because you can see exactly what it's working on at the time. Cool, so it's just adding some animations now, using a package called Tailwind. It's a very common package for doing animations, buttons, icons, all that sort of thing. You'll see an awful lot of you doing web app development. Cool, so stage 3 has been complete. We can go in and test that feature now. So we can see there's a new select all button here, so we can try that. That's pretty cool. And the clear, which will remove all. You can see animations have been added here as well for selecting, which is pretty cool. So we could share, copied 18 links. We can paste those on. We can get the 18 links here. It's got a little header and a footer, which is quite neat. and then some emojis here to show that they are links. Super cool. Okay, well that's the secret mission finished. We've just tested it and it looks correct. If you're having any troubles at this point, you can head to the NextWork community as well. So to summarize, we've created a custom command stage plan, which allows us to create a stage-by-stage plan for implementing a new web app feature or already any feature, or debugging or anything you want a stage plan for. And we use it to build a complex multi-share feature, and we implemented it in 3 stages systematically. So, like I said, commands are really useful. They're not just for stage planning. You can use it for reviewing, testing, security. You could do setting up documentation, and by test it means like generating test cases for a new feature you've put up. And documentation is a really good example as well. If you want to add to a README or an install setup, or to give like a constant update ring with dates and stuff like that, that's really, really useful too. You can use the ask feature to brainstorm some ideas about the review feature there too. So how did the custom command improve your workflow? Compared to planning changes manually, the custom command saved time by setting up the stage plan automatically based on a predefined prompt in .claude/commands. Directory. What other custom commands would you create? So you do update documentation.md, add test.md. Two really good examples that are super common. Cool. So I won't uninstall Claude Code, and I won't delete my NextSound repo, but if you want to, you can, because I'll be using these for future projects, you can totally go ahead and do this. So uninstalling Claude Code in this tab, opening a terminal, running this. If you get a permission error on Mac or Linux, run sudo. On Windows, run it as an admin. So right click and click admin when you're running the terminal, and then just delete the NextSound repo where you cloned it. So I cloned it onto my desktop, so I deleted it from there. So what are the key concepts and tools? Include Claude Code, and the key concepts I learned include stage planning, Claude commands, How long did this project take? It took me approximately 1.5 hours. The project is quoted as 90 minutes. That took us as long, or me talking through it took as long as status. That's good. The most challenging part was setting up the stage plan for the first time, or say manually for the first time. It's most rewarding to see the newly implemented features at each stage. With the skills I learned, I want to build a sorting feature for my songs. I did this project today to learn about using AI tools in my terminal to speed up development, speed up web app development. Another AI skill I want to learn is using MCPs. This will be available in the next project in the series, and there'll be an entire entire series on MCPs after that. Cool, so this is a GIF of what, how we'll be able to use this, which is the same as what we've got, which is really cool. Copy into the clipboard and paste them into a browser, and you'll be able to see that. I've already done the quiz, so I won't do that. But yeah, in this project we set up an authenticated Claude Code CLI to in our development environment. We initialized Claude Code running. Oh, that's another thing actually. Stage planning, Claude, memory, another thing. Initialize Claude Code in a project and manage its memory with custom instruction, master the essential Claude Code commands, and use plan mode to create and refine a multi-stage implementation plan. And this allowed us to build a share feature from scratch, and then if you did the secret mission, add multi-share, and we monitored API costs throughout. Cool, so I'll click mission complete to look at our documentation. Download that, and we can go. We can first look at this save to portfolio, and then we can go look at the LinkedIn documentation or the another one.
I mean, if that's the case, then it would be fixable, and we'll just have to. I think at this late stage, that was day one. And resolve it ASAP. Yeah, but that's a good call out. I'll mention that to Richie, because he may have done that, and he may have overlooked it. Because that was, he had a good test today. Well, yeah, actually, he could, I suppose.
So we can try copy the Instagram post template, maybe the Facebook one. So this is what you would get if you copied it on Facebook and posted it. So this explains the project you've been working on, some of the skills, and how to how to do this project, or where to find it. Sorry. We can do this as well on Twitter, which is a similar format. Cool. Alright, well, yeah, that's been the Claude Code building a web app project, and the second project in the AI Workspace series. I definitely recommend it. It's a great project to get started with using CLI tools to speed up development. I will end the stream now, but it's been really good. I appreciate anyone that's stuck around and anyone that's followed through the project. I would love to see you guys go through and do this and post it on LinkedIn or anywhere. And yeah, thanks